We out here.
Hi, my name is Carlos. I travel, I tattoo, and I take it all in. One country at a time, one tattoo at a time. Travel is what inspires me. Tattooing is what guides me. This is how I interpret the world. This is the global canvas.
What's up, guys? How is it going? It's still me. I'm still Carlos, and we're still working on this painting. Today, before I get into, I guess it is what we're going to be doing today. If you've been following along in the series, you can see that there was a lot of progress that we made over here that is now gone. What had happened was, I was looking at the mathematics of everything, and I realized the door size that we had originally measured was way too small. Like, you can see this door over here and this window over here in the alleyway. That's kind of fine because we can lose a little bit of the math as it moves backwards into space, because it's kind of hard to tell how long this alleyway is. But by having the door over here with the height of the door going from here to here, that put the bottom of the door right here, which we can very easily see by where her feet are placed, that would mean the door's only like a few inches or maximum a foot back behind her. And if she stood up, she would have been like way taller than the door, so it didn't make much sense. So after last session, I buffed all that out so we can do today. So again, the whole point of this series is to fail in front of people. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that door that was here and we're going to move it way up here, make it much larger so that it's obvious that she could fit through it. It'll basically take up the very edge of the canvas. I'll be working right to the edge here. It cuts off on my camera's the tiniest bit here, so I'll try to keep it as close to the edge as possible. Sorry, I heard something from the other room and I was like, I hope this is an okay phone call. Okay, so we'll put that door in, and then I want to start trimming out what's going on in this alleyway. I would like to have some bags of trash or like something discarded in there to make it feel a little bit more like an alley. But first and foremost, we're going to get going on fixing this door. Now, originally, when we had worked on framing out the doors and the windows and these balconies up here, we had a lot of masking tape put down on the canvas to give us those perspective lines so we can make sure to keep them congruent, continuous, to make sure that they were straight. They were all lined up and it made sense mathematically. I just did poor math. So I don't have any tape up right now, but I'm going to do a very quick version of it with my roll of tape here, and just to find the very, very top line of the door, because almost everything is going to be off camera here. So this is what we're looking at, is like basically from the corner of the canvas. Whee! That's right there, but that's fine. All we really need is the top line here. So from the corner of the canvas, let me see if I can just rip that piece of tape off, and then straight down, which I could tape, I suppose. I mean, I got it out. I guess let's give it a shot, but it doesn't seem too important here. This is just the very, very edge, uncomfortably close to the edge. I really don't like having a feature that's that close to the edge, but to have the math work for her to be able to stand up and then walk through this door, it's really the only way to do it. So let's look and imagine really quick how tall she would be, right? So if here's the level from her hips to the shoulders. She stood up here and her head's about that big. If she stood up here, her head would be about here. So if we have a character that's this tall, I could just hold an action figure in front of it and that would measure it out even better. But if we had a character that was this tall that was walking over here, and then the center of the door is up here, I think that looks like it's appropriate. So very much on the edge. I will still put the door pull like have a plate here and then the handle so you can see the door pull, so we know a little bit more that it is a door. But also with other painting effects, I think we can figure out how to make that pretty obvious. Make sure everything's going good on our stream setup here, and then let's get going. So I have my normal palette out here, not even cleaned up from last session. I just took it and put it in a airtight box so that I can maintain the same palette from session to session. I'm sure you would love if I at least like scraped and cleaned this stuff up, but what are you gonna do? Okay, so let me snap this piece of tape off the back here really quick. Set the tape to the side. Make sure we're in frame for you. Nice. All right. So we'll just use this to pull like a really quick edge line, just to get the boundaries in place, and then we'll yank the tape off and start making a door. So I'll make a little pile over here. This is it's my burnt sienna. Sorry, got frozen in my brain for a second. That's my burnt sienna, and we want like a rusty door. So let's go ahead and just toss this color in now for our rusty door color, and we'll make sure to tune it later, if and when we decide we need to. All I'm doing is, this is just straight pigment. I don't even have any liquid in this. I probably should, but I don't anticipate working on this door any more than what we're about to do today. So I don't really need it to dry super fast so that I can do a subsequent layer or anything like that. Let me rephrase that. Like, if I need to tune the colors to make them match the color harmony better, of course I will. But I feel like because there's almost nothing of this being seen on the canvas, we can really just knock this part out and leave it. It's not going to require me to go back, you know, tomorrow or the next day. This can take as long as it needs to dry. I'm just going to flood this whole section here. I do have some other ideas for how to spice this up, so I don't want to commit to these colors too much right now, because I think I'm going to put a lamp right here and then have like a light coming out here, and when that happens, it's going to change quite a bit in the universe of this painting. You know, we're gonna have to have the light glowing on our character, of course, but also on anything else that we see around. It's gonna cast some light onto. All right, so there we go. A couple seconds dropping that in. I hope you guys can see it on the stream. I know it's pretty dark, but let's take this tape and pop that off. Tape and pop that off. All right, cool. Feels much better as far as the shape of a door. It looks like probably the most boring thing you're gonna see me paint because you can barely see it, but we're just getting started for today. Okay, so now that I got that in, let me do just a little bit of identifying some of the features on this door. Give it just a little bit of some light darks to play with so we can tell that it's not just a weird shape. And basically all I'm going to do is go around the edge and just kind of give it like another rusty like texture. I'll even toss in a little bit of oxidation. I'll toss in some greens. How's that? Toss in a little bit of green to make it feel a little bit more weathered. And then after we do this part, we'll toss that handle in there, and then we're going to work on making this alley look a little bit more alley-like. So you can see we have no reference today. I promise you there's no reference sitting in my room or anything like that out of camera's view. We're just making this stuff up as we go. Just kind of pushing paint into paint here, letting it get progressively more mixed as it goes down so that we have a little bit of a, almost like a gradient of texture dropping down in here. Big old rusty door coming at you. Eventually I'll put like some shadows and a door jamb in there. We're gonna start with the front of the door itself. It looks like it's kind of showing up on the stream a little bit. I hope you guys got your brightness turned up. That's basically my only save grace on your end. See how lively chat gets today, if it gets lively at all, if anybody tunes in and sounds off. If you're watching, feel free to talk and keep me distracted. It's a lot. I know that it's fun doing the tutorial part, but it's a lot easier for Carlos to not pay attention to what he's doing and then let the painting come as an afterthought. Okay, so if we want a door pull that's going to be on this side to come out here, the only reason I really want to put it in there is so we know it's a door, right? When I put a little bit of a jamb around here, hard to pronounce the B in jam really hard right there, a jamb. When we put that in, it'll be a little bit more obvious, but a handle is really going to sell it. So we'll put it like right about here. What I want to do is make the plate first, and then the handle that comes out of it afterwards. That way we can make sure the math is correct on the plate, and then take it from there. So I'm going to set this brush to the side because it's very much loaded with a warm, rusty color. And what I need for this is more like a stainless steel color. Let's see, I'll make my pile down here today where I have some of that left over from last session. And do a little bit of black, a little bit of white just to get a mid-gray, a little bit of blue so it feels colder, cooler. And then from this pile, I'm going to make it a little bit darker down here and then a little bit lighter up top. Just using black, white, and French ultramarine blue. There, now I got 3 tones to play with. I know my lights are a little funky, but it doesn't really help there. Let me see. Yeah, sorry. I know my lights are a little funky, but if you could see it, you can see it. If not, you'll see it on the canvas. Okay, so what I need is to make sure that my perspective lines are good, and if it's waist height and the perspective hits like she stood up basically at the heart, the level of the heart, then I need this to be just lower than heart level. And if that door is there, then I would put it like around here. So if that's the case, there's not going to be really much perspective line because it's almost dead on. So we're actually going to draw this as a straight rectangle. So I'll show you what I mean. Draw it as a straight rectangle and then just have our handle come out straight. And that'll be probably the easiest shape of this whole painting, to be honest, because it's just the straight. This is basic kindergarten shapes right here. Okay. Make sure the edge of this plate is indicated. Cool. Racer. Hey, what's up, Tyree? Good to see you, man. For anybody that's tuned in, Tyree is one of my oldest friends. Met him when I moved to Livonia in, was it 3rd grade? So I got a little plate where the door pull is indicated there, so let's throw a handle coming out our way this way, and then we can move on to painting some errant garbage in the alley here. Off camera right here, there's just a little piece of cardboard that I'm wiping my brush off on. Not doing too much cleaning. Just getting it light enough so that when I mix this second lightest tone in, it actually mixes and doesn't just muddied. All right, so how far out? Should we have it come out a little bit? I think realistically, I don't know how far the depth of these are supposed to be, like to code, but I can imagine it'd be like 3.5 inches to get your hand in. But I'm gonna exaggerate it a little bit for two reasons. One, because this is like old world construction in this alleyway, so it's got some features that aren't like gonna look modern, but also it's a painting, and I want to be able to make it look harmonious and make it look right. So if we have it too close to this edge here, it might look too tangential. So I'm going to pull it out and exaggerate just a little bit. So I think what I'll do is I'll have it start here and here. I'll come across the line just a little bit. That's pretty good. Boom, now we have a little handle on the door. Cool, cool, all right. Should have a deadbolt above it, just to keep it safe. So let's put like a little deadbolt here. Just put a little circle there. We can do a shadow side and a highlight side, but this paint, that the copper color that we dropped down is extremely wet right now, so all of these brush strokes are just kind of muddy up into each other. So I'll indicate this, and then we'll come back when it's dry, and add a little bit of highlight. Let me get a little shadow side on there. Then a little highlight on the top end. All right, cool. So that's a little deadbolt. All right, now my real passion, what I really wanted to do here is just paint straight trash. So we're gonna paint some garbage over here today. I got most of the pigment off this brush already, but let me just draw like some random shapes where we can put some trash bags just like kind of slumped up. Discarded underneath this window. That'll do. Okay, so these are gonna be black hefty bags, the kind that you dispose a body with. So we'll just start blocking some stuff in. I already know that the darkest dark of these shapes is going to be on the ground. The bag connects with the cement, so I don't need to guess with that at all. But then, again, there's no reference in sight. I'm excited to try to create this like finally plastic texture of a trash bag just from imagination. So that's going to be my darkest dark. It's going to be leaning up there, and I have let's do a crinkle there. We'll have the whole thing tied off in a knot up here. I'm just going to start dropping some shapes in here. I'll try to narrate the entire time. It's always so much better for me to do this where I'm not talking and it's just, or where I'm not like thinking about it and it's just happening. So that makes this channel pretty fun for me. To make this as challenging as possible. I find, again, I'm just painting for imagination here, but I find when you have plastic crinkling up like this, it's more of like, it always turns into triangle shapes. It's not gonna be so much like these larger amorphous, they might be like rounded off, like how fabric would bunch up, but it's gonna be more of like hard triangle shapes. The new Bob Ross, let's get it. You know, obviously, clearly an inspiration. We grew up, we're the same age, Tyree and I, we grew up in that PBS Bob Ross era. And actually, I don't know if anybody knows the story about what's going on with Bob Ross's legacy, but there's a documentary out there about it, and it's absolutely horrible. There's a family called the Kowalskis, not Kowaleski. No relation at all. But there's a family called the Kowalskis that essentially usurped all of the controlling rights away from Bob Ross's kids and family. like legally, I don't even know if it's legal, but they own everything basically, and none of the proceeds from anything Bob Ross related goes to the family. It all just goes to this greedy couple that essentially stole the legacy. So you're gonna see stuff coming out in the news about like selling they're gonna sell original Bob Ross paintings to benefit PBS or something like that, because their federal funding got cut. Don't buy it, literally or figuratively, because really what's happening is the Kowalski family is going to sell and keep so much profit from selling all these originals off. It's ridiculous. But there's a movie. It's called... Oh, man. I was going to say Art of the Steal, but that's a completely different documentary. But yeah, just search Bob Ross on Netflix. You'll find it. It has a provocative title, but nothing bad happens with Bob. It's a pretty cool life that dude had. Alright, so I'm still just blocking in these shapes for this first hefty bag. And I'm gonna presume that light is gonna come from this direction, so I'm keeping a lot of the weight where it bunches up next to the wall, a lot of that dark over here. So it's heavier and weighted more into the dark realm over there, and then we'll have some more highlights hitting up this way. Using my paint piles I have mixed up here, I got like almost five stages of black and gray here. Tyre, I know every time this music in my background music loops with that hard cut, it probably just destroys your soul. It was never like, this is a Suno AI beat, right? So it was never designed to be anything except trash. But like, I don't have, if you want to donate, let me know. I'll give you credit every episode. But I just wanted like some cool chill lo-fi music in the background, just so it wasn't silence between my ramblings. But it wasn't designed to loop, so it just kind of cuts off. It's a bummer. Probably take it and throw it in not Pro Tools, in Logic, and mix it and cut it and get like a perfect loop spot and all that. But then that's giving too much credit to the Suno AI beat, and I don't want to do that. I'm not really that interested in overly supporting that product. It's fun. It's definitely fun to play with, but not for you. Getting somewhere. It's getting closer. Yeah. Yeah, I knew it was up. We're gonna keep pushing through here. No worries. Because this trash bag is away from our main figure and it's in the darkness, it's not going to have as much brightness. Obviously, it's just a little background element. I am going to have to blur out the edges and blend it into what's going on here, so I'll add a little bit of pigment on the outside that matches what's there already before I obliterate. But still, just getting these basic shapes in. Try to figure out from imagination how to paint black plastic in an alleyway. I feel like to keep this illusion working, I'm gonna need the bottom of this bag to be a horizontal, like flat edge. Because like if I have it rounded, even in real life, things are gonna be kind of amorphous. But if I have it rounded, it's gonna look a little bit like we're playing with a lot of sharp perspective and lines and symmetry in here. So it'll behoove me, I think, to make it flat. And if I don't like it, and if I need to round it out, I'll just round it back out. But for right now, I'm gonna go ahead and just make like a nice continuous flat bottom to this bag. Yeah, that already feels better. Cool. All right, so that's like one bag, and then there's gonna be another one behind it that's peeking out a little bit, but I'm gonna obliterate this first, and then I will add the second bag, because I don't want this stuff to get too sharp. So let me pull out a third brush. Nice, I want like a nice round. This is more of a filbert, like a round filbert. But I need to remix this color here, which it's pretty white. It's kind of cool. Let's see, let me just drop a little bit. Pretty close. I guess I'll just pull from this black and gray pile I got right now. And all I'm gonna do, yeah, it's perfect, is just get a little bit of wet edge so that I have an edge to blur out, so to speak. I'll leave that corner nice and tight, just so that the focus is there, but I'm gonna blur and obliterate this bottom edge. Wet and wet blend. I don't even need a blending brush to do this. I can just work off the tip of this brush. Make sure it's nice and soft. And then I'll soften up that back edge there. And for that, I will pull that original copper door brush I had earlier, just because it already has tones that are similar to that in it, to crack open this old oil paint from last session that was just sitting there setting up here. Should be good. Beautiful. If you can't see it, then it's exactly what I need. Actually, you know what? So I mixed this tone and it was kind of light, but I'm gonna use it because where we had the door before is now just a big swath of nothing. So I'm gonna use this lighter tone that I have and get a little bit of texture back into this alleyway. Heck yeah. Gotta make sure not to curse on stream or else they're gonna hide my content. Got a lot of new followers. Thank you so much for following and subscribing. I don't know what happened today, but we finally broke the 100 mark. I woke up with 96, and last I checked it was at 113. So that's awesome. So if you guys are in and watching right now, sound off. It's good to have you. If not, feel free to set up notifications so you can get in on these live streams. I only ever do about an hour at a time. So if you don't have the notification set up, it's pretty unlikely that you'll be able to catch it live, but you can always watch the VOD replay. Okay. All right. This is sick. Just adding this extra texture on the wall is really, it's too long, I don't like that. Just adding this extra texture on the wall is really, really helping create the believability of this alley, and then that bag has so much more sense now, doesn't it? In the previous streams, we were discussing the wall texture of this alleyway is such that it's been painted over and painted over and painted over and painted over in the universe of the painting, not with my paintbrush, so that it has that like candy coated, shiny paint look, right? Like this building is built, 112 years ago, and they just keep changing the paint and resealing the brick and all that. So it's gonna have a lot of these like warbly, meandering, vertical lines. I'm really happy about that. I'm not gonna put brick in. I don't think. Maybe I should. Maybe I should put full on brick just to make this harder on myself. That sounds awesome. I think I might actually do that. One of our next streams then, after this is all dry, everything that we're touching today, is I will take this brick wall, and instead of having it be like that lacquered paint, we'll put brick lines in it so that I can really make it as difficult as possible on myself. That sounds cool. Okay, now that we got that figured out, I'm just gonna buff out this edge line a little bit because we want it to blur. We don't want it to be too sharp over here. Now we're gonna do the trash bag that's immediately behind this one. I don't know, I'm gonna try my darndest to get this so it reads as 2 trash bags and it's not just I know and you know because we're working on it together, but I want it to be able to look like from like this bar maybe, because I decided this is gonna be a bar, but maybe the bar was bringing the trash out instead of going to the dumpster, just threw it across the alley, made it the theater's problem. So this will be another one back here. Quiet. I'm going to try to keep my voice going this whole time. I want to be able to narrate for you guys and tell you what I'm up to and not get too lost in my imagination here. But I will say, I think this is working perfectly, huh? What do you think? The illusion is working? Having one bag behind the other one? Yep, so I want to pull a little bit of shadow off like how this is here, so as to make it obvious that we're looking at trash bags. I need to make the very bottom of that a little bit darker because, as I was saying in previous episodes, when you have 2 items, the 2 things that touch each other, that shadow that is called the occlusion shadow, where the 2 elements touch each other, that is like 110% black. So if we're trying to make a realistic painting in a realistic universe, there's no way that where it touches wouldn't be black and then get lighter from there. So I will make sure that is nice and black. And then we will pull off in this direction. Bit of shadow. Maybe that'll look too much how that worked out, but cool. All right. So we're on our path, on our way, making some junk. So now I got those 2 bags in there. I'm gonna add a couple highlights to this foreground one. It doesn't need to be super bright. It doesn't have to be stand off from the back or like completely jump off of the canvas, but it needs to be light enough that we know what we're looking at. And eventually when we have like some more colored lights in here, I'll let those highlights, I'll tune them. I'll have them pick up the color of the alleyway, color of the universe that this takes place in. That's cool. A little bit better. When I do this, I'm checking out chat, and I'm also checking out, I got a preview of the stream, so I can see how it's looking on your end. All right, so we got a couple bags of trash there. What else should we put out here? How about a discarded paper cup? How about a crumple of paper and a discarded paper cup? We'll put him right here next to this guy. Oh, you know what? I have a wild idea. I'm gonna save this one for later because I need to really search my conscience to determine if this is what I want to say with this painting. But we should have like some Amazon packages that are delivered and just left outside. I think it'd be kind of cool if she was too busy to take him inside. She came out to rehearse in the alleyway and was like, I'll get those on the way back in. So if I do that, and I have them around here, it's going to obstruct this view a little bit. So I don't really know if... I know what I'm going to do. Wow. Oh my god, this is exciting. Okay, I know exactly what I'm going to do right here. I will start... I don't have enough people in chat right now to play with you guys and see if you can play a guessing game. As to what I'm going to paint, so I'll just narrate it as we go. I want to have like a rat. If this is New York City, you got to have rats in the alley, right? And if it's an alley, it's got to have a rat. So let's do that. Let's put a dope little rat, maybe like right here, just trying to get into the garbage. And that will tell a pretty good story right there, because now she's not even distracted by that. You know, big old nasty rat in the alleyway, she's still just doing her exercises. I like that. Alright, let's find a new brush here for our rat. Our rat is going to have a similar color palette, right? It's going to be like a brownish or just straight up black and gray rat. So let's do it and let's make it a lighter toned rat. How about that? We'll make it definitely not white, but we'll make it a lighter gray. And I'll just kind of etch in where he's going to go first. Maybe I'll have him climbing up here. Alright, yeah, for sure. You guys see that? Okay, so got that mid-tone in. I know where this rat's going. We know where this rat is gonna go. So let's start building up some values here. Just show his bulbous body. Shape of his head. Gonna need a little bit of shadow on him. Let's come down here and pick up a little bit of a darker tone. Shadow's gonna go under here. The brush I'm using right now has got really soft bristles, so it's kind of tricky picking up these colors and then having them deposit. So I'm gonna really load up the brush here. Let's go dark. Oh, this is so exciting to me. I mean, this rat is getting in the trash. He's literally standing up and like trying to crawl in while she's doing her exercises over here. I could probably break out the magnifying lens again for this one. I'm not going to, but I probably could if I wanted to, because it's gonna be so small. I got this out. I wanted to show you guys this a couple streams ago, but I didn't have a chance to. Here we have a dime. American currency, right? Let's see how big this rat is. Let's see if I can. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a piece of tape. Tape this dime to our painting so you can get an idea. The scale we're working with everything, specifically with this garbage can and this little rat. See that? Dime for scale. Make a little bit of sense. Cool. Alright. Retune my lights for you guys. I'll leave that there. Alright. Sweet. Okay. Let's make this guy look like a rat. I'm not going to use my magnifying lens. I'll just jump right in with my eagle eye vision and see if I can pull this off. Okay, so I'm seeing some shape of this boy. He needs a tail. Rats need tails, right? So I'm going to mix up like a pinkish tone. I actually have this. If this is still wet, I think that'd probably be perfect. Let's see. Oh, it is so perfect. Perfect consistency too. Start with this for his disgusting pink rat tail. I should have him go like down and maybe just like that. Slick. All right, but we always want to color in threes, right? If you have anything that you're coloring, if it's the turn of this shoulder, this foot, or this rat, you want to color in threes, meaning a minimum of 3 tones: your mid-tone, your highlight, and your low light. Or sometimes you can just mix your straight shadow tone from right there. So if I put that brush stroke down, which I'm really happy with how that little tail looks, it's not going to be believable unless it has at least 3 tones in it. So I'm going to take this purpley tone that I have up here. I'm going to make a highlight and a shadow, and I'm going to get really nerdy about it and get really close in there. I'm going to use a warm white to create this shadow, or to create this highlight, sorry. So there's a nice little highlight, a nice little mid-tone, and then we got to create a shadow on the side. And then we will use those 3. Just kind of bounce it around, make it make sense. Shadows are warm. So I'm going to use a little bit of violet, a bit of red. Just get that nice and warm, and then we're going to push that value back a little bit. I'll just use that a little bit. That's fine. All right, let's start with our little tiny, teeny tiny shadows. I got to get my eagle vision, so with me here. Getting real quiet again. I wish I had a macro lens or something so you guys could see this a little bit better, but that's all right. I'll hold it up after. Well, no, it's not going to miss anything on here. See if you can catch it. I don't know if my lighting is good enough. Can you see it all? That even that little rat, there's already 2 tones in the tail. There's the mid-tone and then that shadow tone. Okay, so I got that in there. I'm gonna put some highlights on now. Highlight on that tail, color in 3s. If you want it to look convincing, you're gonna need a mid-tone, a highlight, and a shadow. Pick up some of this highlight that we mixed. Use my eagle eyes, my laser vision. Drop a couple highlights just where it would receive the light. Nice. That's good. Highlight, mid-tone, shadow, go. Alright, let's get back at it like a crack at it. I think that was from Run the Jewels. I attribute it to Killer Mike. I think that song opens up like, back at it like a crack at it, Mr. Mac Daddy and the Mac Daddy. And then whatever he says. Okay, this rat's sitting on the ground, right? So that means that there's an occlusion shadow. So what does that mean? It means we're gonna have to put in a little darker shadow there. But you gotta try using your phone light to enhance the stream. Feed on the panty is a little dark. Yeah, I have some ring lights on. Let me show you something really quick. I'm gonna move these off of where they are. The issue I'm having is what I should really do is invest in either a different webcam that can just pick up light better, and I can use some more tuning, because I have like the filter plugins and whatnot to change the HSL or the contrast, luminosity, or whatever. But I need to get a polarizing filter to put on every single lamp in this room, and a polarizing filter on my primary camera that's aimed at my surface, and then I will be able to throw light on there without having the reflection. Because what happens, and I see that you said it's much better, what happens is when I throw this up here, you see all of this like texture and bumpiness because the light is reflecting right off. It's all specular highlights off the surface of the panel. Just for you though, and I will go back and recheck the stream. Obviously I have to check it before it goes live, or before it goes into the archive. I'll pull this out. I'll try to reposition these lights and I'll watch, and if you just saved the stream tirade, then you will get credit for that too. Alright, see if that helps things, huh? You let me know. And now my face looks all lit up. All right. Okay, so back at it, I need to put a deeper shadow, like where the rat's butt is touching the ground, and then also the best part is going to be the tiny little shadow underneath this tiny little tail. That'll give it some really good realism. In general, I would say with like the rules of art, all of these values, like the further away from the camera that you get, the like harder to differentiate they would be. So it wouldn't really be black at every single level moving all the way backwards. But right here we're talking about a scale. I mean, this thing is maybe 6 feet behind her, 8 feet behind her. So it's not gonna be so blurred out, right? It's not gonna be so out of focus that we can't see, full black where its butt touches the ground or anything like that. But also, I'm not gonna go hyper detail on it until later if I choose to. If I go hyper detail on everything now and then step back, I might be like, uh-oh, it's all too detailed. Nothing looks, photographic. It'll be easier to add detail later than to remove it all by putting subsequent layers of oil down. Much better in this spot. Okay, cool, you see detail, let's roll. Thank you so much, sir. And just like earlier, using some really soft bristle brushes right now, and there's a couple layers of wet paint here already, so it's gonna be a little tricky for it to pick up here. I wonder if I can get away with showing his little hands, like his little feet, hands scratching up the top. Basically, I just need to get a couple like pink blobs right there, so I'll do that too. But first, I need to put a little shadow on the ground. This little tail. Oh man. If I was doing this and I wasn't streaming right now, I'd pick up this panel, get it right where I want to get right in there, and have a much better angle of attack. Just dancing off the tip of the brush here. As Bob would say, 2 hairs and some air. Barely letting it touch the panel. That little tiny little shadow underneath the tail there. Some of my favorite effects in painting. I have a round here. This is a round brush. It's got no pigment on it right now. It's just a dry, fresh brush. I'm gonna use that to blend out this little shadow here. Soften it up. Also use it to... I need to taper this tail down, so come back in with some more of the tone of the street there. That cement tone. And I'll just kind of carve in the edges. Let's see, make sure I got the value perfect. Yep, looks good. Just a little bit brighter on that value, not too much. Cool. In one of our last streams, I just dropped in and say hello. Hope your day's been good, Lowe's buddy. Thank you so much, Cadet. And I saw that you had posted a comment on one of my other videos. I can't remember what it was because I went through and responded to all the unresponded comments. But thank you for interacting with those as well. You're my OG here. You're like the first person to jump in on our streams when we started doing this. So it's always cool to see you. Are you working right now? That makes me so happy that I thought of putting this little rat here. Give him a little hand too. A little Ratatouille style. I need to put in some shadows for his little ears. I don't know how realistic this would be to have a nice bright pink nose, but I'll give him one of those too. If we have to remove this stuff, I'll just remove it later. Again, I'm going off of imagination here, so I don't really have a reference of a rat to work off of. Oh yeah, so I gotta get his little ears in here. So the ears are gonna be on basically shadow side if the light's coming down from here. So we're gonna have like full obstruction from light. Doesn't have to be black, but definitely has to be dark to know what he's got going on. And this rat's almost the same color as the trash bag, so it's gonna be a little hard to dial it in. But again, I want to make this as difficult as possible on myself, so as to have evidence of failing in front of you guys. If it doesn't work and if I get frustrated, that's part of the show too. So let's see. It's gonna have some little ears that pop up here. And the inside of that ear is going to be a fleshy interior. So I'll come up here and grab some of this. Let's see if I can drop this top here. And we won't see the fleshier interior of that ear because it's away from camera. But I will pull, clean this brush off a little bit better. I will pull a highlight on the edge of that ear, and then I'll make the trash bag right next to it darker. Even though when I was originally blocking it in, I didn't have it dark. I will make it darker so that this rat pops off a little bit better. And the rat's name is Pop Off now. I just decided that. Pop Off the rat. Cool. All right. So it gets some more dark here for the trash bag, so I can make him pop off there a little bit. Also, I'm going to round the tip of the nose with this a little bit. Start over here on this side of the body. Nice. Tyree, send me any links you might have to like a macro streaming camera, if you can find such a thing. And also I got these Elgato face cams for the one that's pointing down to my palette and the one that's pointing on the surface. Right now what you're looking at is just the webcam off of a laptop. But I tried taking these cams outside to do some plein air painting, and it just washed full of white light. It's just immediately way too bright outside. And I realize it's because these are basically made for streamers, right? They're made for low light interior, and they just don't have the lens capacity, if you will, for actual lighted stuff. It has to be used indoors. So if you can send me any links of anything that you know of that could upgrade my stream, I would highly appreciate that. You're my expert when it comes to techie things, music, or any kind of production wise. Alright, so that's cool. I like that little rat there. I think that's awesome. I have a little bit more development to do in here with the bag, but I'll let this first layer set up first, and then I'll get in and get stupid detailed with it later on down the road. Where are we at on our stream? We're at 56 minutes, so we're getting close to the end. What should we do for the next 5 minutes? Yeah, that's right. I would put like a discarded cup here, but I did want to put like some Amazon packages undelivered here. If I did that, how big would they be? They'd be out here. Might obstruct a lot actually, so I'm not going to put anything else around here. Just bring those Amazon bags out. That is something that I'll need to measure. And I don't, you know what, while I have this pigment on my brush from down here, I'm gonna definitely have to measure to get the perspective lines right in those Amazon packages. They're just gonna be leaning up here. But maybe I could just guess. Yeah. I suppose if I'm making it hard on myself, honestly, I could just try to figure it out in front of you. I don't know. I think it'll be smarter for me to. Thanks, Harry. I think it might be smarter for me to hold off on those Amazon packages so I can actually measure the perspective lines correctly. What's funny about thinking in those terms of measuring out correctly, look how choppy everything still is. It's still in like a really choppy phase. This is essentially still the underpainting of this painting with the amount of glazing layers it's going to go in. I mean, this hand face, like we're getting really close on those spots, but really everything else, as you can see, is just kind of abstract sloppy, right? So to overthink the perspective lines right now doesn't make much sense because I did that with all of these and they're still kind of janky and wonky. So as we used to self-edit in school, instead of saying the other word, I'll just say skip it, let's go. Let's run in before the end of the stream and see if we can identify where these packages are going to chill. So I need, I have this perfect color right here on this yellow ochre. Is basically Amazon box color. But I'm going to try to measure it out and etch it in light without ruler or tape. Ruler or tape. Let's see if we can figure out some shapes of some boxes. So how big of the packages would have been out here? I would say something that's like your normal small peripherals and then maybe a big box because it's a theater, so maybe they had to order some kind of equipment. At a Target plastic bag in the street. Dude, I have some ideas for how I want the garbage to lay out over here, and there's going to be some pretty identifiable items in there. Specifically a Starbucks cup and a certain type of vape discarded. But let's see. Let's have one of the boxes in here. Is that showing up? Can you see these lines? Oh yeah, for sure. See that. So, perspective wise, all the perspective goes to her heart. That's the idea of the piece, is that all of this is in the heart of this dancer. So if this is butted up right next to the wall, like it's pressed up next to the wall, then these perspective lines are going to follow pretty literal along with the rest of this to that part of the heart line. Right? Brush is all wonky because it's balancing off this dime. So anyway, let's just kind of eyeball perspective here. Is it still eyeballing if I'm using my brush and tilting it to figure out angle here? I might go over on the stream, honestly. I'm having a lot of fun hanging out and doing this. Maybe I'll go late. Oh, my kid's gonna be home from school in a second. Okay, so that'll be box number 1, and then we'll add some more in a pile in a second here. So let me get, I hate this brush, but let me use a nice bright, and let's mix up a quick 3 colors for our alleyway Amazon packages. And we'll do them right here by this yellow ochre, because that's already a good tone to use. Grab a little of this Naples yellow. Have a highlight edge. and yellow ochre straight for my mid-tone. Probably have to reload my palette after this. This stuff is getting kind of gummy, even though it was left in a... It's been a couple days since I painted, so I'm not going to blame the paint. I didn't do anything wrong with that. Or the paint didn't do anything wrong. And then let's come down here with this raw umber for a little bit of... Well, that's pretty black almost, but we'll blend it into the shadow tone here. So I need a shadow surface here where the light isn't... Oh, this is easy math, guys. Okay, so I will start with shadow tone here. And I always hate these bright brushes, meaning the big flat chisel tip. Always hate these bright brushes because I like to do everything softly and blend it. And these just show the brush stroke every time. But who cares? We're just blocking in shapes right now, right? Alright, so there's the shadow side of this box. Now I'm going to bring it into this yellow ochre mid-tone. My dumb bright brush that I hate. And we are going to... I was hoping to do it in a single stroke, but that's okay. Our, I don't know what to call this facet of the 3D rectangle, but anyway, there's that edge of the box there. Then we'll need the light receiving edge, so that'll be the top tone. That's going to have these colors in it. This one I got to be really straight with. See a ghost of an Amazon package. Woo! The harmoniousness of these colors, it's getting kind of off. But as I say a million times over, we can tune that. We can come back in with glazing and make things make a little bit more sense, you know. Back with this Naples yellow, that light receiving edge. I will need to put some tape around it. So let's do that. I'll do that with a smaller brush though. I mean, obviously you can still see the line, the perspective line running through. This isn't finished. This is just getting this package blocked in. And I think what I'll do is I'll block in any of these packages right now, let it dry, let it set up, come back, and fine tune stuff a little bit later. I don't want to overdo it on this little blocking layer, but I do kind of want to see the math of all of this line up better, you know, some more believable geometry. Yeah, come in with some tape. Again, going from imagination, I think we all receive enough Amazon packages to guess how this tape might look. So you know it's going to run up the middle. Kind of has like a pattern to it. Straight across the top. belief from memory that there should be a little bit of blue on the label of that. Right? Does that sound right? Yeah, it feels a little bit more accurate. What about like a UPS sticker? I mean, I know Amazon delivered it, but I feel like there's got to be some sort of sticker on the top, right? Yeah, feels packaged like. And it's got a stupid little QR code on there, so let's go ahead and add that. Sweet. I don't like really the geometry of this box at all, so I will sharpen that up, likely off stream where it's less boring. But you gotta have some kind of logo back here, some kind of writing. Advertise their stuff. That's cool, that's cool. So essentially, to make myself feel better, what I'm going to need to do is just get the overall geometry of the shape of this better, but we're just blocking it right now, right? Okay, so we got that box there. So I want to put another one in, maybe something that's a little bit bigger, because like I was saying, it's a theater, so they might have been delivered some larger, I don't know, some stage props or something like that. Excuse me, I don't want to block out our rat boy there, though. So maybe... As much as I would love to have a big package right here, like a bigger box, I don't want to lose this or the readability of it. So let's have like a longer, like a square but then elongated box coming up this way. Like maybe it's like a tube in there or something like that. Let's go with that. Just make it a little bit more, I don't want to say easy on us because I don't want to make this easy, but I want to be able to see this guy. I like that rat. I agree, Tyree. That rat is fire. Okay, so let's have it just chilling against the wall on an angle coming down this way. I really would benefit from a ruler or some tape on this, but that's perfectly fine. And when I do this, all I'm really doing, I mean, honestly, I could just use a bright brush and just start putting strokes in, but I kind of want to be able to sketch out where things are going to go, you know? Make a little bit more sense for myself. I don't have to do much. Just to be able to see those edges. All right. It's the same type of cardboard, so I'm going to do the same colors. The exact same tones that I use here, I'm going to use here. And then later on, I can use some cast shadows to give it a little bit more of a 3D effect, right? But first and foremost, I'm going to want to do this like shadow side. Then the light receiving side is going to be here this time. And then the side that's just the straight yellow ochre will be like the top of the box, which is going to be off this way. So we might not even really see the third edge of this. Talk about taking the easy way out. Let's see. we're getting there. Not too terrible. Not too terrible. Not my favorite, but not too terrible. I'm going to darken up the shadow side on this over here. This is, I could probably use a tiny little detailing brush to do this and it would be better, but I'd rather, now that I already have the pigment on this one, I'd rather just use this flat brush that I hate so much. And I gotta make sure this looks like a package, right? Not a 2x4. Which, painting full of discarded construction materials, that sounds attractive to me. I think I would enjoy painting something like that. But not right now. Not in this alleyway. I'll try to scrape off as much of this paint as I can. So we'll go back in with this highlight edge. Make this make a little bit more sense up here. Alright, I feel pretty good about that. I need a shadow coming off the wall here where this package is touching the wall. And to do that, I want it to be kind of warm, I would say. I don't really have any cast shadows from these objects yet, so I don't know what tones I want to do it in. But if this wall is where the shadow is going to be, it's not going to be black, I'll tell you that much. But maybe like this straight raw umber. I love to shadow glaze in like the final moments with like a straight raw umber. It really brings everything into like this hazy noir. Hazy noir is my drag name. Stiffer bristle to it. Got this mop brush. It's got a stiffer bristle. It'll pick up the paint that I just dropped on there a little bit better. Pull straight down. And all we want to do is see the shadow this is throwing up onto the wall. Once I put some tape on this, I think I'm going to call it an episode. It kind of tapers off right there. I don't like that, so I will jump back in with this tone. These are getting a little muddy, these colors, so I'm happy to wrap this portion up. Sweet. All right, so now all I need to do is put a little bit of tape on the box, and then we're good to go. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. This is required for a streamer to say. It's in the bylaws at this point. Tell your friends. We can honestly have a straight up party in here. If we get like 12 people in here, you guys can josh around, you can say whatever you want in the chat amongst each other, and then it'll kind of be like we're hanging out. I don't really have friends anymore, so it'd be nice to just hang out with people. Alright, toss a little bit of this blue. Again, I just feel like it makes sense to have a little bit of blue. I don't remember if that's like in their box art or anything like that. Logo on the side there, and put a QR code. If you go back and look, every single stream I've done, my final stroke that I do is like, I botched it, and I gotta fix it off camera. Put that one a little outside the lines. This label. Sweet. That'll do it for today. Thanks for swinging by. Tyree was awesome hanging out. Like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys